If it's a day called today, we're talking guitars and life.
Well, welcome back everybody. It's time for Under the Hood of the Vicer's Milk White ST style. It's a Stratocaster. Shh. Yeah, I had never heard of this brand on TEMU. I had pulled the sticker off. Vicer's. Yeah, there you go. We pursue perfect professional cost performance. Yeah, man. Okay, let's get into it. So our under the hood exploration of the Vicer's ST style guitar that I'm calling Vic or Vicky, depending on who you hang out with. So what we're going to do first is we're going to tackle the headstock area. We're going to look at the tuners, the string guide, the nut, etc. Should be fun. Let's do it. Now what's interesting about this guitar is it only has the one string guide or string retainer. And what you can tell though when you look at it like this is that you've got two strings here that are way too high. I'm thinking that that calls for a couple of different options. Option one is maybe we can file whatever nut we end up with. I don't know that I'm going to keep the plastic nut. I may order a Graphtec nut or something. But we could file the nut where it's more at an angle, where that string angles down more. It could be the way the string is strung up, where you've got the string sitting really high instead of down low at the bottom of the string winder, whatever that's called. But yeah, man, these two strings being so high, I think we need to either explore cutting or filing the nut where it's more of an angle down, and possibly exploring the idea of putting a secondary string tree on this bad boy. Hey, put it in the comments. What would you guys do? So the first thing we're going to do is take these strings off. I doubt you need to watch that. Well, I wonder how everybody's day is going, man. I hope you're having a great day, man. Whatever it is you do, whatever time of day it is, whatever day of the week you find yourself upon this video, man. Man, I just really hope that your day is filled with people you love and stuff you dig, man. Life is too short, my friends, not to have good friends and hang out with and do good things. And yeah, man, it's a quick ride that we take here. So yeah, man, just hope you're having a great day. And I'm thinking I should have wore gloves, man. These strings, you can just tell, are super kind of corroded, kind of funky. Anyway, we all knew the strings had to go, didn't we? Well, if you didn't, guess what? Now you know. So I'm going to take my 10 millimeter extension socket's good for this because sometimes it'll help you get down over that tuning. Now the other thing is, I'm just going to see if these are loose. Yeah, that one I could turn pretty quickly. The others are pretty taut. Well, let me get these off. Okay, got all the ferrules out and the washers and the nut. Yeah, there's a, you can kind of tell where the paint doesn't go all the way around this hole a little bit. And, man, I'm not a cosmetic guy unless it's just something really glaring. I usually don't care too much about that. But there are just a couple of imperfections here that if you care about these kinds of things. And again, I can get some cleaner, see if I can clean that off, but that seems to be an indentation in the wood. I noticed in the unboxing and mentioned that. Yeah, before I do that, let me just take this string guide off here while we're talking and hanging out. I noticed initially in my unboxing vid that, hey man, you guys like that? Did you like how I put the unboxing at the end of the vid so you didn't have to watch all the shenanigans? Or would you have preferred to watch a longer unboxing? Let me know in the comments, man. I'm just curious about that. So yeah, I mentioned that there are some imperfections here on the headstock. You can see I've got something weird here. It's not, I don't know that it's a crack that was glued or if it's just some kind of residue left over from something. So I may get a razor blade and see if I can get that off. Again, I don't really care about this kind of minutia, but some of you might, so I'm just pointing out this is what we do in Under the Hood. We look at everything, we talk about it. And then on the paint here, you've got some imperfections along the white line. There's also like a interesting dot right here that is it coming off? I don't know, just a couple of, I don't know what those are, man. If that's like, yeah. Anyway, imperfections on the headstock. And that's kind of how we roll with a $129 guitar. And you know what, man? I've seen more expensive guitars that have had some issues. So yeah. All right. I also mentioned in the unboxing that I had noted that these tuners are, just your basic closed back tuners, nothing to write home about. There was a lot of slop in almost all of them. So before the playing video that I posted, I did tighten both the screws on the tuner itself to try to take some of the slack out of it, which it did. And then also I tightened up these screws. They were all just a little bit not exactly snug, as we like to call them. So man, for a $129 guitar, what most of you who hang on the channel know is that I'm a locking tuner guy. And oh, by the way, if it's your first time hanging out with us, man, welcome. Love to have you come back and hang out anytime at Ted Talks Guitars and Life, man. Got some cool people hanging out in the comments. A lot of people who know so much more about all of this than I do and are quick to share in a kind and generous way their learnings and their best practices. So if you're looking for a place to hang out, man, the guitar community, this is a cool place to meet some cool people, man. And yeah, you could find out, you'll hear me mention people all the time, like J-Man and Two Bike Mike and Sean Overscar My Guitar and Tone Yeager and, well, man, a new friend of mine, man. His name's, this channel's called The Rev Doc. And we've been having some conversations a little bit in the comments. And yeah, man, he's got a cool channel. And yeah, man, so, all of us are just, we're out here just doing what we do, right? But, man, just the generosity of people to share their best practices with me has been such a blessing. If you like this kind of content, why don't you consider liking the video, man? Subscribe to the channel. Come back anytime and hang out at Ted Talks Guitars and Life. And now, let's get back to it. All right. Well, we've got holes, don't we? Those are not the worst holes I've ever seen on a headstock, for sure. And you can kind of, I don't know if that's buffing compound in there. Surely the wood is not that white. But anyway, yeah, not a whole lot of things standing up here from the holes a little bit. But yeah, man, that is the headstock. Now I have noticed, so when you do an initial unboxing and playthrough and offer first impressions, you know, you don't always see everything the first time around. So that's why coming back and doing under the hood is hopefully helpful for everybody. So you can tell on the headstock here we've got a couple more imperfections, just a little bit of a dent there or something. And then I did notice around the neck here you've got a little bit of discoloration, and there's a slight scratch here that you really can't, I mean, you really have to look for it. You probably can't even see it, but you see how this is kind of darkish, kind of worn right here. Yeah, that caught my eye earlier today. Now again, I do think that the neck, the back of it looks really good. Let me kind of zoom out here. Oh, other way. He doesn't even know how to work a camera. Well, I'm trying really hard. So yeah, it's got kind of a really nice, kind of a dark hue to it. It gets really darker down here, which I find interesting. And it's super kind of, this is the lightest area. I kind of wondered if maybe somebody had this guitar and took something off of the back of it. I don't know. This guitar was $119. There were other vendors on TEMU who were selling the exact same brand, the exact same model for like, you know, 154, 134, 120 something. This one, I saw 119 and as my friend Mike would say, impulse buy. No, not really, man. I wanted to check it out. But I'm noticing as I'm looking at it more closely and under the hood. So you've got right here, I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up. You've got like some residue there. I don't know if that's glue. I don't know what that is. But yeah. You know, this is just what we notice when we look this closely at a guitar. Most people, when they buy a guitar, are probably never going to look at it this closely. But that right there, I may take a razor blade and see if I can scrape that off. The fret ends are not, you can hear them. Can you hear them? But clearly, I mean, I'm doing that pretty tight. They're not super sharp, okay? Now, to say that they're not super sharp does not imply that they're not, that they're smooth. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. They're not super smooth, but they will need to be addressed, you know, up on the higher register frets here. It gets this side right here, this one right here is very sharp. Of course, who's going to play that note? Nobody. You can't reach it on this kind of guitar. There is no heel cutaway. It would be very difficult to hit that fret unless you're a real guitar player, unlike myself. My wife hates it when I put myself down. Anyway, yeah, so I'm just looking things over here kind of a little bit more closely. This is an interesting kind of a, I like the pattern in the wood. I really do. So at this close range, I mean, you can tell that the hole for the inlay is not perfectly cut. You know, man, it's, again, $119 for me. Now, if you've hung out on the channel with me, you've seen me send a guitar back twice. That was $129 to another vendor. And that neck was just kind of horrible. Now on this one, I did notice earlier, it looks like the edges of these fret of the fingerboard, get the terminology straight, has been sanded a little bit. I don't mind that because it feels better than it being sharp. Again, I don't know if they come new like that. I don't know if somebody had this and maybe took a file down there, which is what I intend to do, right? I intend to take all the frets down because I don't necessarily want to feel them. And there are a couple that are sharp, so I will file them and then I will round them. And again, I seriously need to polish these frets. If you watched the previous video, then you heard the crunchiness of the string on these frets. It's just kind of yeah, it's probably not good. Let's stop doing that. Anyway, so yeah, so the nut, that's where we are. Now the good news about the nut is that it does not appear to be super glued in there. And by super glued, I don't mean a brand name. I mean like a whole lot of glue. I can just about move it just like that. So I should be able to tap this out. Yep, just like that. Yeah, that came out pretty quickly. You could tell at one point they had some kind of glue on there. You've got the discoloration from the glue on both sides, very little. Definitely a plastic nut. I've got some nuts. I don't think I have anything that'll fit. This is a pretty flat bottom. In fact, let's check the radius of the neck. And my suspicion is that the radius of this board is pretty flat. So for those of you who are new to the radius game, traditionally like a Fender Squier type Strat is almost always going to be like a 9.5 radius, and sometimes there are compound radius fretboards, fingerboards, necks as it were, where you'll have maybe for the first 12 fret, one radius, and then beginning 12 on, you'll have something different. They call that a compound radius. So yeah, so let's start with number 12 here and just see. Oh yeah, good shot of the goatee. It's not quite. Well, 12 is close. I've seen a lot of import guitars, particularly Chinese made. Yeah, there you go. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Well, down here it's a little bit. It's pretty much 16. Up here at the top, it's definitely 16. I'm going to try just getting all the. I bought these somewhere. I don't know. I would tell you, but I don't remember. Amazon or Solo or something like that. Okay, now she could be 17. Could be 17. Yeah, that's not rocking at all. Yep, I'm thinking 17 so far for the win. 16 was super close. But you could tell well, I've got a light on the, it's probably not going to be very helpful. so you guys really can't see. I have to do it from this end. Yeah, I don't have any light that comes through on the bottom of the board when I do this. So what I'm doing is I'm laying this on the fret and then I'm putting the flashlight behind it, and I'm only looking for any light that would come from underneath. Kind of like, you know how light comes under the doorway at night when you're sleeping soundly. So 16, 17, yeah, 17 on the sides. There's a little bit of light. (16) by contrast. Yep. Okay. Okay, it has been determined that this is a 16-inch radius neck on the Vicer's guitar. As always, wherever you are in your guitar journey, man, I pray it's a long, smooth, safe, joy-filled ride for you, Jack. Rock on with your best selves, everybody. Catch you down the road.